Just blogging. James Ussher timestamp. Here in front of me, I have book after book after book. I am a chronologist. I've collated all Bibles I could get my hands on, including Bible Hub Gateway. I've gone through every Bible in print, and the one on top of this pile says James Ussher, undated. And we have an undated Bible in my collation, and we have a cult on the internet who approximately kept the James Ussher chronology at their cult website, GodQuestions.org, helping you accept reality. Let's get the Bible out of print, GodQuestions.org. Has anyone ever seen God? Question: has anyone ever seen God? Question. So did James Ussher when he was alive? 9 years later, he had the Great Fire of London, the Great Plague of London. 10 years later, he had the Great Fire of London, Great Plague of London. Next, into James Ussher's life, what you missed out on. The Great Plague of London, lasting from 1665 to 1666, was the last major epidemic of the bubonic plague to occur in England. 75,000 number of deaths, 1665 to 1666. So thanks, James Ussher. And then we had the Great Fire of London. So this was caused by fleas or something like that. Great Fire of London. And then the fire burned out all the fleas. So we have a flea of a cult on this internet, a pretty small one. Somebody who can't accept reality. The earth has never been 6,000 years of age. So I'll help you out right here. The Great Fire of London, September 2, 1666 through September 6, 1666. This is the time stamping of 1610. Okay, this 1611 Bible had 80 books in it, and now you're down to 66 books. In the year 1666, you conflated down to 66, and that's where you went wrong at, and you couldn't even think your way out of it. So let's go over here. Average age of menstruation. So we're working with the menstrual pattern of the Bible itself. This had Genesis 1:9, God and Moses speaking face to face as friends, Genesis 1:9. And then you had the barren matriarchs, 6 of them, and then you had the wobble of John the Immerser. He was born of a barren in some of the English Bibles, but he's not in others. So I'm accepting the 9/11 Jihad, reading this to you, explaining this one to you. Trends for Northern Europe show an average age of menarche of 16. Guys, stop right there. The average age women got their first period throughout history is the one you need to keep record of. This is like the most important article on this internet in the year 2020. We have a cult over here that can't accept reality. Use this. And right here, following the 6,000 years, you have a wobble. And you can't make any sense out of this, people, because you grew up from great ape who evolved writing in 3500 BC, and then having evolved writing and having grown up from great apes, having followed a 6,000-year legend, and having done all of that. This came out to show you right here, guys, you're a cult on the internet who all have claimed gotten their period around the age of 16. So going back to 130 years when Grandpa Adam and Eve first gave birth to Grandpa Seth, they were an albino. Adam and Eve were 450, 500 pounds respective. They were overweight. They were up there in Norway. And right here, you have this book in print. Still, you have this book in print. Got questions that cult on the internet as I continue to read. You've got the book in print far too long. With ancephaly in Washington State, Kennewick man, 9,200-year-old fossil. There's been a lot of discussion recently about how American children, both male and female, are entering puberty at early and earlier ages. So yeah, it's right here in print. So you have a cult on this internet that can't accept reality. The Kennewick Man 9,200-year-old fossil explained the 65,000 to 200,000 year presence of the Australian Aboriginal. However, it meant that you got to get your Bible out of print for what I'm explaining in this. Early puberty is you have a cult on the internet that can't accept reality now. Wow. So they have encephaly, which is attributed to everything from better nutrition to poor nutrition, genetics to environmental pollution to indoor lighting. So you wrote it all down. What this actually is this 5,900 years ago when you started bleeding and you started mating together, and the Australian Aboriginal people who are already there 65,000 to 200,000 years ago eventually got some idiot from England down there with the English language in the Bible, and you got to take it out of Australia for having even arrived there. Oh, Trinity College collapsed for having that book in print. And while I would never say that we or shouldn't find this concerning, don't find this concerning. You've just had the Bible in print too long at 6,000, never happened. Australia, OTO, wake up. When you look at some history, yeah, you've had this same medieval 1611 around a little too long. The Mormons got it. It's medieval and valid. That seems the average age has fluctuated over time. So as we continue to read for what's actually going on now, what's actually going on in Washington State, where I have encephaly and you're a moron at a cult, what's actually going on? Got questions. He also notes a class divide among the age of first period. Right here. Make sense out of the 6 barren and the 200,000 pieces of barren apocrypha. Your Bible is barren apocrypha in English. Quoting an anonymous Austrian author. Yeah, so I told you, you're in hell. In 1610, who claimed that right here, got questions that called on the internet. Your Bible, turn off at this sentence. The peasant girls of this country in general menstruate much later than the daughters of the townsfolk or the aristocracy. Right in this, you can't make sense out of 6,000. No, you have a legend. Right in that, your legend, 1611, legend, 1610, take it out at the 6. The townsfolk in general menstruate have usually borne several children before the peasant girls have yet menstruated. So what you had going on is what I witnessed in the former USSR when I distributed the Russian Apocryphatic. I'm taking this out of print that I took on that mission strip. This one that's in creation date undated. What it is there's only enough room in this book for me to say you don't have a brain cell having been made from the White Cliffs of Dover coccoliths, 136 million years of age. You followed a legend. Got questions. Cult. You couldn't make sense of anything. The Grand Canyon, you couldn't accept reality as you drove around it. How did we get a bridge? How'd you get the engineering expertise? Well, you followed a legend of a Bible in print too long. How did you do that? At 6,000 years, never happened to anything that NASA ever came up with. And so what did you guys do? You followed a days of Peleg disorder of time, having this book in print too long past the year 99, having it in print in 96, having it in print in 86, having it in print in 1906. At 6,000, never is going to happen, never happened. You're never going to be able to prove it. It's going to prove itself didn't happen because you followed a legend. It's going to prove itself did not happen. Got questions. Cult on the internet. It was a clear, long distance legend. You're a cult on the internet. Got questions.org. Cult on the internet. Can't accept reality. We need to get rid of the Bible because 6,000 never, ever, once upon a time happened, and put God and Moses speaking face to face at every individual verse of every line in the Bible to make any sense out of it and get rid of it at that. Be done. You took God out of the Bible at 6,000. You followed a legend. Cult on the internet.